Hi Scorpio, welcome to your first half of November. This is a general Tarotscope for the period between November 1st and the 14th. And the 14th is actually when we have a full moon in Taurus. Taurus is your opposite sign, so it's in your 7th house of committed partnerships. And the full moon can bring awareness to an issue in a long-term or committed relationship. It can indicate, finding something out about that person, maybe coming to a realization, maybe ending a relationship. It can also, I do feel, indicate enhanced feelings because the moon is full. There's a sense of abundance. And so maybe it even increases your feelings for a partner. But, remember that when there's a full moon, there's an opposition between the sun and the moon. So the sun will be in your sign at the same degree as that full moon and indicates kind of like a push-pull where, you may be wanting certain things and yet the other person's needs or the other person's situation is highlighted in some way. And this can be very enlightening because if there's any kind of problems in a relationship, it's human nature to see it from your point of view, but maybe now you will kind of see what their needs are or what they are asking for, I should say, which is kind of like their needs, I suppose, and trying to accommodate them, or to realize that you're not on the same page. So all of these things can be what's happening. Now it's interesting that a few days before that full moon, there's actually going to be a transit of Venus entering your 3rd house of, the 3rd house is the house of communication. And that includes the internet. So Venus going into that house could indicate that maybe you hook up with somebody on the internet. And I mean hook up electronically. Maybe there's somebody from your past. Maybe there's somebody that you just decide that you really are attracted to and you start communicating with that person. So I'm not saying that there's any connection between that full moon and that Venus transit into the 3rd a few days earlier, but I thought I'd mention that anyway. And Mercury has been in your sign, and on the 12th it's going to go into Sagittarius, which is your 2nd house. So what that can mean is that you're going to be thinking about new income streams. The 2nd house is the house of earned income. So you may be kind of brainstorming, trying to come up with new ideas to make money. And whenever you have ideas, if you put any kind of effort behind it, that becomes actual action. And then that can lead to things really manifesting on the physical level. So in other words, it's not so much about just thinking about something, but if you can also apply that action when it's an appropriate time for you, you might see those ideas being transformed into reality. And Mars is going to be going into your 4th house of home and family on the 9th. And so watch out for any kind of fireworks within your family of origin, within your house. You may be doing something, renovating your house, doing something that requires physicality in relation to your house. It can be a time when something gets stirred up within your family and there is some kind of conflict. So just be prepared for that so that you can not be reactive by knowing ahead of time that this may be occurring. Okay. All right. Interesting. Now, in the first 2 weeks of the month, remember that the sun is in your sign. So it's really not surprising that the overall theme is this Ace of Wands, because this is the start of something. Aces are beginnings. This could be in virtually any area of your life. This could be a business that you're starting. It could be a relationship that you're starting. Because it's with the wands versus any other suit, there's passion and creativity attached to it. So typically, the wands tend to relate to career matters. Now, I shouldn't say career, should I? I'm trying to think of entrepreneurial. I can never say that word. Being an entrepreneur versus just any career where you are working for somebody else. Let me say something that you're creating for yourself. Because the pentacles, and I did get some pentacles in this reading too, could be career in general. So anything creative, a creative project. Now, it could be a painting, but it could be a business. That's your own business. So this is something that is in the infancy stage, at the beginning stage, but there is a lot of excitement being generated by you with this. So maybe some of you are launching something. And the other thing that I want to say about this is that I would even suggest that this could be a new way of life. This is your solar return, so you're naturally in that mode. But you may just have a totally different road that you want to walk down. And you're happy that you are changing. Maybe you have resisted change for a long time and you're finally free of something, I'm thinking, and you're able to feel a sense of lightness even. And that is giving you enthusiasm. Maybe before you felt weighed down by something. Maybe you felt oppressed. And this is like, I love fresh starts. I love that ace, what it symbolizes. In your case, in the recent past, we have the Nine of Cups. So something may have come through for you that you had been wanting, perhaps very badly. It's interesting. This is one of those cards that, because it's cups, we naturally associate it with something that you receive on the emotional level, but it could actually be in terms of financial gain or some kind of achievement that you had wanted to do, like you complete a goal, but something that really makes you feel like, yeah, I did it, and that's why it's associated with smugness, because it's like, it may have been a real accomplishment. You may have really surprised other people. Maybe they didn't believe that you could do it, and now it's your turn to just kind of like gloat or be tempted to gloat. I wouldn't recommend gloating, because, one reason I don't recommend gloating is because it's really funny. I was just thinking about this today, that we are encouraged not to feel proud of ourselves, or not to kind of, we're told don't brag, don't boast about yourself if you have something good happen. And I was thinking how we're in this outmoded pattern of like kind of a puritanical mindset where you're not supposed to ever, elevate yourself. And actually, I think there is a real healthy form of not bragging, that's not what I mean, but of feeling proud of yourself. That pride can be a very healthy thing, even communicating it to other people and saying, I did it. The problem with gloating is that there still is that energy of feeling inferior and feeling that you needed to prove yourself, and then you can lord it over other people. And when you lord something over someone else, it's really not a positive action because it's coming from a place of insecurity. And that's kind of where that negative bragging occurs, when people need to kind of like make a case for themselves. I'm really okay. But to just state, yeah, I did this thing, I don't think there's anything bad about that whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I think that we should be communicating our successes to other people. And how other people respond can tell us whether or not they're in our corner or not. There is I understand about narcissism, and I also feel that, sometimes when you have this Facebook situation happening, a lot of people, they brag to the masses. I'm talking about one-on-one, when you're sharing, stuff that has happened in your life with another person who is close to you. That to me is not the same thing as just bragging to everybody. And it's kind of like almost impersonal, like you don't care about them. It's just like you want to just, broadcast it to the world how great you are. That to me is a whole different ball game. And by the way, speaking of ball games, yay Cubs. But anyway, I digress. So I think I said everything I wanted to say. So that would be something that has already come in for you in, maybe at the end of October. As I'm recording this, it's the 24th, so there's a whole week left of October. And so if you're watching between now and then, the 31st, maybe something really wonderful is going to happen to you as you near your birthday, or as you have your birthday. If you're an early Scorpio, happy birthday to those of you born at the end of October and those born in the first half of November. Okay, so this is an energy that could be coming up during this first half, and this is the Five of Pentacles. This is a card that I always consider to be the lack consciousness card. Now, isn't that interesting that we get the Nine of Cups and the Five of Pentacles bookending this Ace of Wands? What could that possibly mean? Well, one thing that could mean, Scorpio, is that, and I have also been thinking about this lately, because when good things start to happen to you, it's a very interesting dynamic that occurs. People don't really talk about this too much, but sometimes having good things start to happen for you can be very scary. And this has to do with worthiness, feeling worthy of good. It's something that we need to really look at when good things happen to us, is how does it make us feel? Do we ever feel uncomfortable when we have successes? Because sometimes it can happen. And I was thinking recently, I don't know how people, kind of handle it when they are like struggling, and then they have some major like dramatic event that totally shifts them and catapults them into a whole new reality. It's one thing to gradually have little successes, but I think about people that are overnight sensations, and usually they're not really overnight. Usually they've been working at it for quite a while. But let's say somebody who wins the lottery and becomes a multi-millionaire. And we've seen some of them go broke, in just a short period of time. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, what happened to, what's his name? I can't think of that rapper. And now he's doing these commercials for, something to do. He's doing these commercials for, I hope it's not payday loans, but, something about credit. Yeah, maybe bad credit or something. Hammer. MC Hammer. He went, but he didn't win the lottery. He actually, I'm assuming that he didn't have much money, but then he lost like $25 million. And people say, how can you spend $25 million in a short period of time? Well, it's amazing. When you start to blow money, it probably can go very quickly if you don't watch out. So Poverty consciousness or lack consciousness can occur when you have millions of dollars in the bank, especially if you have had to make such a dramatic shift from not having to having more than you could possibly need. So sometimes people get so uncomfortable with that they just find ways of wasting it, So think about that. If something good has happened to you, think about your thought patterns, and also think about your behavior with money. If you have gotten a financial gain, Scorpio, are you either depriving yourself because you're you're not feeling like you're deserving, or are you squandering your money because you also don't feel like you're deserving? It's kind of an interesting thing, but it may be on an energetic level where it's kind of like not being able to really embrace the good, but it could also be being too materialistic and not spiritual enough. That's another possible interpretation. And actually in this deck, which is Morgan Greer, and this is the back of the cards, these, they don't depict it like the Rider-Waite, which is like, the Rider-Waite shows a couple of people in rags walking past a church with stained glass windows, and they're not seeing that it's like there's gold. They have their eyes cast down to the ground, because all they can see is their lack. They can't see that there's something beyond their physical condition. So that's another possible interpretation. And the higher message is the Ace of Swords. So this is about you seeing things very clearly. And the reason I'm pausing here is I was thinking about Neptune turning direct, but that's actually going to happen, I think, around the 18th or so of the month.